Hello, welcome everyone to CEO Declassified podcast. I'm so excited to bring a really special guest today, Barbie Figueroa, a digital marketer and award-winning marketer who's been at it for 18 years. It's absolutely incredible. I know she's not going to get offended. She's one of the dinosaurs of the industry who's been in it before Twitter or YouTube or Facebook has been around. So Barbie, I'm so happy to have you here today. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Helena. I am so excited to be here with you because I just think you're amazing. And you are like, I was like, oh, I'm going to sit next to a rock star. Like, she is so amazing. So, if you listen to her podcast, you are a smart cookie. I got to tell you. So, I'm super excited. And yeah, I am kind of a dinosaur. I was like literally around before Twitter was a thing. I started on MySpace actually. I started with the I'm cool with calling myself a veteran because it was really cool. That time that we were in 2008, 2007, 2008, I mean, the iPhone just rolled out. Oh my gosh, I'm totally dating myself. But the iPhone had just come out. People were just starting to make videos on YouTube. YouTube just really launched, I think, like in 2006. And I got onto the scene in like 2007 because I was trying to find a way to make money from home. And I actually was doing like eBay before that. I was selling clothing and then I was designing eBay stores. And I was like, I hate retail. I'm like, this is not for me. I don't want to do this. And I'm like, how can I make money even when I'm not on my computer? Like that is the holy grail, right? And then I learned about affiliate marketing. But back then, like I learned that if someone just clicked on a link on your link and they purchased something, like you could make like a little commission. And I was like, oh, how do you do that? Because I don't even have to be on my computer for someone to buy something from me. Like, how does that even work? And that kind of took me into the world of affiliate marketing, where I purchased my first $2,000 high ticket program that paid like $500 commission. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. I am going to like make it. This is it. And so I started doing what a lot of people do when they first come online and they're trying to sell something is they go into like forums and they start pitching people and the strangers and the, hey, check out my opportunity, blah, blah, blah. I did all that stuff. And then I realized, yeah, no one's paying attention to me. They're just like, you're so annoying. You're a spammer, you know? And that's when I, actually, if I'll tell a quick little story that I went into a forum and there was a guy who I perceived, and I'm telling you this because a lot of us do this. If you're watching this and you're like newer, whatever, we all did it. I think we all did it. And so anyway, this guy, I was selling a $2,000 program. This guy didn't know me from Adam, but I perceived him to be super successful. So I remember DMing him and saying, hey, I see that you're like really into like personal development. I have this amazing program. I think you're going to love it. You should really jump on board. And thankfully, this is a really good lesson. Thankfully, a lot of people, what they do is they're like, you're a spammer. Get out of my inbox. Or, they'll be like, you're terrible. Like, go back from where you came from. He didn't do that. He took the time and he says, I really respect your hustle. I'm already doing my own thing. But if you keep on with that determination that you have and you get some good marketing education under your belt, you're going to be an incredible marketer one day. And I was like, okay, I believe this guy told me that for a reason. And that was my sign not to quit. That was my sign to keep going. And so I was like, okay, so he said, I got to go get marketing education. So I got to go find marketing education. And that's when I spent another $2,000 to for a personal development and leadership program from some really cool guys that were teaching you how to do YouTube and generate leads with YouTube and MySpace. And I invested the $2,000, and within my first 30 days after joining the program, I made my first $3,000 sale. So I am an advocate. I'm a believer in getting educated the right way in digital marketing and online marketing, whatever you want to be good at and whatever skill you want to, develop, get under the wing of a mentor, a coach, a good solid education. And if you apply what you learn and you're purchasing it from people with a track record or with that are credible and that are trustworthy, go for it and apply. Don't let it collect dust. Apply what you learn and you might be freaking shocked with what happens. And that's kind of like what happened to me. And that kind of like started me in that world. So
That's
that's my
amazing. Yeah,
origin story.
I love it so much. It's yeah, starting off with eBay and then the MySpace. You know, it's so funny. I'm younger than you, but I do remember MySpace. I used to have an account back before Facebook was a thing. So the MySpace marketing, I can only imagine what was happening back then because I know we still have spammers, we still have people who, you know, hustle like we did because I mean, I spammed, so I had no shame in that back then. So I used to send copy and paste messages on Facebook. But I mean,
Yeah.
look where it got us, right? So it wasn't the best of my days, but I can totally relate. So hearing somebody who tells you just like a little bit of encouragement is so good because again, when you started, it was just you against your computer, right? There was literally no support. There was not as many events back then. So how was it
Mhm.
like for you to get online and build something? Because I'm sure a lot of your friends and family probably told you like, Barbie, what the heck are you doing? Are you crazy doing this online thing? Did you have that?
Honestly, let me tell you something. My husband, he's also an entrepreneur. He has his own little business. It's not this a huge thing, but he has his own business. And so I am very grateful. I'm very blessed that I do have a spouse that is like, go figure it out. Just go do something and figure it out. He never put the pressure on me like, oh my gosh. Well, he did put a little bit of pressure in a couple of times where there's this fine line, Helena, when you are trying things out that I'm dating myself again. There's this Kenny Rogers song that says you've got to know when to hold them and you've got to know when to fold them. You have to know when to hold the hand of the cards and you need to know when to put them down. You need to know when it's time to walk away from something because it's just not working. Where you are a square peg trying to fit yourself into a round hole. At some point, you have to say, I have to walk away from this. It doesn't work. And I had those moments a couple of times in my journey where my husband's like, you've got to stop this. It's not really going anywhere. Pivot. You got to do something else. And then I had to humble myself and say, yeah, you're right. It's not working. So I'm going to try something else, you know? So, the rest of my family, they don't really, they just know I do an internet thing, but they're not really, I don't know. I just kind of keep it on the low. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. Some people will be like, oh, I saw your YouTube video. And I get so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, you did. You know, so it's kind of like just something that I've always done. My kids have grown up around it. One of my sons is actually has his own TikTok, his own YouTube. So it's like, it's actually really cool because I do believe that when you do put yourself out there, when you do the online thing, it is like the ultimate way that if you have some sort of a gift, a passion, a talent or something, like the world is your oyster online. Like you can literally like do anything. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of naysayers. I think maybe the worst enemy at sometimes is yourself, you know, when you're like, you're hard on yourself because things are not working the way you did. But outside of that, I've had a pretty supportive team. I haven't never had that real pressure to like, don't do this anymore, go get a job. I've never had that. So thankfully that I haven't experienced that. So,
Yeah.
but I have to tell you about MySpace. One thing about MySpace, I will tell you, this is just a side note. What I did love about MySpace that was different than Facebook is that MySpace was very MySpace. It was like for the individual. You got to like put your own page, make it your own colors, put your own, whatever you wanted on it. It was your space. Where Facebook is more like the town square. So that was kind of cool because it was social media, but it was still very introvert friendly because you could still have like your own place to hang out. But yeah, definitely back in those days, like marketing was you called out. You didn't really call. Well, you called out a website on YouTube, like at the end of your video. But back in those days, we're like, hey, call me. We would tell people to call you. So yeah, that was crazy. Like, but it worked. So and it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. So yeah.
So that was the time before the funnels and websites were a thing. Did you just literally that's how you generate the leads? Like, hey, here's my phone number. Just call me and I'll sell you the $2,000 program.
That was part of it, yeah. So I would get on YouTube, and then I bet you if you look far back, far enough, you'll find some people like with their phone number at the bottom of the screen and stuff. Hey, give me a call or whatever. Because we were also selling a $2,000 program. But then I got hip to this whole thing because I'm like, I hate the phone. I don't like the phone. I really don't like the phone. I always joke. I even struggle to call my mom, which I got to get better at. But like, I'm just like, if you call me, I'll talk your ear off. But for me to initiate the phone call, I'm just like, oh my gosh. So what I did, and honey, it still works to this day, is it does work. What I did was I put a series of pages together. Back then, there was no funnel builders. There was no digital platforms. I think the very, 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 this is old school. I think the very first person to actually launch a platform, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Jonathan Budd. I think he was the first one to do a platform. I think. Yeah, where you can build a funnel. Him, and then of course, the other program that we were in for a while. But anyway, it was all HTML. I knew some because I had some background in designing websites. So I was like, what if I could put like a series of pages together with a video every day? That way I don't have to be at my computer. And then people just go and watch the video. And then at the end, if they still have any questions, they can message me. And then, like, worst case scenario, okay, I'll hop on the phone with you. But I would let the videos do most of the work so that I didn't have to actually jump on the phone and stuff because I'm also raising little kids at the same time. You know what I mean? And so back then, I think it was just straight up Aweber, and they would enter their name and email, and I would route them to the HTML page, and then they would start my 5-day series, and then at the end, they would call me, and if they were ready, they would sign up. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the things still work that we even used to do back then. As far as like the funnels and stuff, what really has changed is the technology, I think. But there's a lot of things that worked then that still work now. Don't you think?
I agree because based on your explanation, I'm like, it's still the same thing. People see the information, well, they have the problem, they start looking for the solution, they find a potential solution, they check it out, whether it's videos, whether they call somebody. I mean, today we have these like evergreen webinars and VSL and, multi-step launches or whatever, challenges, every single thing under the sun. At the end of the day, it's the same shit, different presentation.
It really is. It is, like we said right before we jumped on, it's a different flavor of hard. Pick your hard. Pick the one that's best for you. That's it. But they all pretty much work. And I don't know if you think the same way, but I'm also like, I try to sell the way that I like to buy. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to jump on a phone call to someone to sell me something, so I don't do it. You know? I'm like, let me have the information. Let me look at the information on my own time. I'll read the copy. If it makes sense, where's the buy button? I don't really need to talk to you. I'll watch your videos. I'll study you. I'll see what other people say. I'll lurk. I'll look at testimonials, social proof, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, that's it. I'll buy. So I typically sell the way I like to buy.
I'm with you. I'm
Right?
with you on that. I've always hated the phone. Every single time, literally, my dad is the kind of person, he's like, and he still uses the old verbiage, pick up the phone and call this person. I'm like, let me just send a text. What do you mean pick up the phone? I don't have to pick it up, like it's right there. I'm like, I refuse to do phone calls. And I think I've got this, well, first of all, when I was in school, like back when we had actual like phone calls that we held and like with a wire, I used to spend hours on the phone with my friends. And I think I just got like, I think that's the word, desensitized. I was like, I just don't want to talk to anybody because I am an introvert as well. I got more of an extrovert because of this damn
Yeah.
industry. Right? So because I was forced to talk to people, but then
Mhm.
when I was first in the MLM industry, and the first thing I did when I ran out of people to talk to, because that's usually what happens, then I bought those leads, right? I bought the leads for the MLM
Oh,
company. I called them.
yeah.
I was told not very nice words, and they sent me places, right? They said like, "Oh, like who the hell are you? Why are you calling me?" That was it. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't like being sold on the phone. Personally, I'm like, I'll see what you have. Tell me the price. Tell me what you got. tell me that you're the real deal, and I have no problem buying, like, no matter what it is, like, whatever the price point. So for me, it's the same way. Like, if I have to get on a call to sell you a $2,000 thing, maybe you're not the right person.
Absolutely. That is the thing. And my one of my very, very first mentors, after I right before I joined the $2,000 program, one of my first mentors, and he is classic. I'm gonna name drop because he's amazing, and he's I just saw him on Facebook a few weeks ago, doing whatever, but he disappeared for a while. But my first mentor was Dagan Smith. Have you ever heard of Dagan Smith?
Yep,
He
yep, yep.
he's
I know he's been
Russell
kind of on and
Brunson's
off.
mentor. Yeah. Okay. So he's Russell Brunson's mentor. Okay. They're like super best friends because he was a wrestler just like Russell. And his tagline was the king of never calling a single lead. I'm like, that's my guy. I don't want to call leads because I did that too. Helena, I bought recycled leadless that were like 3 weeks old because they were the cheapest. And then you call somebody and then they leave you, you're leaving voice messages. And then you go, yeah, mom, is this for a job? It's like, okay, I don't think this is going to work. But I did it because they're like, this works, this works. So I was like, I'm the problem. I'm the one that's being stubborn and I don't want to get on the phone to call these leads. Well, gosh darn it, I am going to do it to prove that, that this does work. And I got on, I was like, I hate this. I don't care if it works for somebody else. This doesn't work for me. And that really is the key, that you have to figure out the thing that works for you. So I think that's a really good clue. I like to sell, like Helena also says, I like to sell the way I like to buy. You know what I mean? It just makes everything easier. I think that we're under all this impression that is really weird, Helena, because we're always looking out there. And yes, I do believe that there are people out there that are similar to us that we can get value from and learn from. And obviously, I've signed up for help from coaches and all those things. You know what I mean? But you can't forget that there's also the thing inside of you that you have to honor as well. That at the end of the day, that might work for that person, but just because it works for them doesn't mean it'll work for you. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that. You just got to figure out what is the way that works for you, that gives you energy, that gives you life, that gives you the type of lifestyle that you want to live. And go figure out who has done that and do it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's a million different ways to reach one goal.
Mhm.
There's no same strategy that's going to work for everybody. There's like I really hate the cookie cutter advice because there are a lot of coaches in the industry. They know their way of doing things, so they're always pushing their own way on you. And I'm like, there was this TikTok trend, brother, ooh, like, no, like if this doesn't work, like don't work for me specifically and my personality, I just refuse to do it. Like I'm glad it works
Yeah.
for you, but
Mhm.
again, people with different personalities choose different strategies that work specifically for them. So, and again, like back then when you started, there wasn't YouTube. There was literally just MySpace, and YouTube was just starting out. So there weren't a lot of choices back then. Today we have a
Yeah.
gazillion different platforms. There's YouTube, there's
Yeah.
podcasts, there's blogging that still works, by the way, if you make it work. You
Yeah.
can
It's
create
making a
digital
comeback,
courses.
actually.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm thankful that the long form content is making a comeback because I know you've been really big on YouTube. That was like that's been your main platform for all these years, basically, right?
Yep. Yep. I've always been on YouTube. I'm very blessed because when I when I came on the scene, like that was really like you said, there weren't a lot of options. I mean, Twitter wasn't even a thing. It was basically YouTube and MySpace. And I'm like, perfection, because I could use YouTube to like get the information out there, but I could use MySpace to make the connections and still have the way to people to come to me, where I didn't have to do the outbound marketing. It was always the inbound marketing. So for me, that was a blessing because that's what's always, always, always worked for me. So yeah, I'm diehard on YouTube. I've always been on YouTube. I've had different channels where, I think a lot of us have gone through that. We're like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. Delete, and you just delete the channel or you do something else or whatever. But yeah, I mean, always that's been my tried and true. And now I will say the algorithm has changed a bit. So it has not been as easy to be seen. And a lot of people are jumping on YouTube, and now you've got shorts. Like, it isn't as easy as it was before, because we didn't have shorts before. We didn't have this algorithm that's trying to be TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, you literally, to see your subscribers, or the people that you're subscribed to, you have to do like a few extra steps to see them, because they're first they show the recommended now, where before they would show your subscriptions first. So it's a little bit of a harder fight. But what I do love about YouTube, and is why I always stay to YouTube, I stick to YouTube, is like, literally, people would be shocked. You can have 10, 16, 20 views on a video, and just one person sees the right video, and they'll message you, and you can make a $2,000 sale. So I don't really care about the views, because I don't look at YouTube the way people that, like daily vloggers and things like that, that they go on YouTube to monetize YouTube. I do it more as a traffic strategy. So I see mine more as, instead of using Google ads, my YouTube is my Google ad, and it just gives me that extra benefit of building my brand, that a Google ad doesn't do for you. But that's what I'm just looking for. Will this video perform to drive some traffic for me? That's it. That's really my main goal, And it's always worked. It's always worked.
Yeah, I'm a
Yep.
huge fan and a huge believer of YouTube as well. I've had my channel for years, and I've also removed some of my videos because some of them were, again, embarrassing, or they no longer fit into what I'm doing right now. But it's
Yeah.
always, and there have been years where I wasn't consistent with YouTube. There was one year when it was so embarrassing. I posted one YouTube video, and that was on December 31, just because I wanted to post one video for the entire year. I'm like, this is embarrassing not to have a single video. But then every single year I look at the analytics, and I'm like, okay, I haven't done anything for the entire year on the platform. I still had people join my old Facebook group that's no longer even active. So that always just gives you the little clues, like the subscribers are still growing, people
Yep.
are finding your videos. There's a video from, just to put it into perspective for all the listeners, and Barbie, I'm sure your experience has been the same. There was a video on my channel, it's a short, and it's not a good quality short either. It was a video I posted in 2013. It didn't do anything for a year and a half. Literally, it was like flat.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, something happened, and the short started ranking for, I think, like 30 or 40 different keywords. And then now it's gotten, I think, 18,000 views, and it's brought hundreds of subscribers. So for everybody doubting YouTube, like,
Yep.
just post there and
No,
do not delete the videos.
no, don't, because it is, to me, the strongest supplier of perpetual traffic. Perpetual traffic. Just like you, I have a video that was about, how to add tags to TikTok or something like that. I think I did it like 2 years ago. I just answered a comment today. I was like, oh my gosh, people are still watching this video. Like, why? But they do. You know what I mean? And so it's very powerful. It's a set it and forget it kind of strategy. I look at it really as a traffic strategy. And I know sooner or later, I mean, not every video is going to hit, not every video is going to send you traffic, but the ones that do, they're there forever, And what I do like about the videos of the old days is they are a great, like, if you're doing marketing or selling something or whatever, and you're saying, look where I was before, if I can do it, you can do it. They are actually a really good way to show people, hey, this is the journey, So, but yeah, so it's good to have them. I don't delete any of my videos. Well, I have deleted videos now. After I was with this company for a few years, I deleted all their videos. They're gone. But anyway, it's a good point of reference. It's almost like an archive of your journey, So if anything, that's a good value that they serve. But yeah, I'm definitely a proponent. And then, because that's the long-term, long game type of traffic, that's where you come in, because you're like, I see you all the time on social media. I see your stories like all the time. I don't look at all of them, but I see you in my feed all the time on Facebook. And so maybe you want to talk a little bit about how you integrate the social media stuff to your daily thing, because that to me is like, I sometimes I get too comfortable, and I'm just like, okay, 2 videos a week and a few shorts, and I'll post on Facebook, and then that's it. But that's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, if you're using a long-term strategy, especially if you're doing free traffic, I don't know if you do any paid traffic. I'm just doing organic free traffic. So if you're doing free traffic, you have to have that long term, but you have to have something where you can actually connect with people. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, so I've always been a big proponent of the two platform approach, like the long term, which has always been YouTube. I started with blogging originally, right? So it was like 2016 when I did a blogging challenge in the community that we were both in. And then I was like, okay, because everybody said back in the days, like, hey, you need to have a website. And there was so much advice in those years because I started on Instagram, then I started on Facebook, and people were like, oh, you have to do the ads and you have to have a website. Every single expert out there has a website. So I was like, okay, fine. And then I had the website and I was like, okay, so we're doing great. And then somebody was like, oh, but website is not enough. You need to be on video. And I'm like, I'm too Russian for this stuff. That's what I've always said. I've had this thick Russian accent. So for me to do a video, I looked like I had a gun to my head. So it was so bad. So that's why like some of the videos I archived because one, they were about the companies that are no longer around, and two, well, some videos are still out there. But on YouTube, especially back then, I know now there is community, so people can message you, and of course even in the comments you can point people to your email list, but email list is still not necessarily a one-on-one connection. Like, yeah, when people reply to your emails, yeah, you can start a conversation. Maybe
Yeah.
they can send you like a text message, God forbid, call you, like if they're trying to buy something super high ticket. Although that's not the strategy that, we're huge fans of. But yeah, like I've always wanted to have a place to connect with people. So for me, that's always been Facebook. Instagram is kind of secondary.
Yeah.
I'm a lot on Instagram right now, because I like
Mm.
the video content. Go figure, 10 years later, like I actually do
Yeah.
enjoy video.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, there has to be a place where you can at least connect with people in the DMs, have your own community. Not necessarily, because I know I really want to talk to you about the community aspect as well, because some people say, oh, you need to have a free community. And, I don't know if you've had that back in the day on Facebook. It's been like a big strategy. You have a Facebook group and you drive all the traffic there. Did you ever have that?
Have had I don't know if we talked about this off camera or on camera, but I have tried the community thing several times. And again, it's like know thyself, and I am an introvert, socially awkward type of person. I don't it's kind of weird. It's like, and I don't like to be tied down. That's my personality. I'm just being honest. I don't like to be tied down. I'm like a free bird, right? And so the thing about, like, so for example, just to give you a little bit of context, in the last company that I was aligned with, there was kind of like a team building aspect to it. But basically, since it was software as a service, the company did all the customer service. They did all that stuff. So basically, my little group, my little team thing was kind of like that extra cherry on top to feel like my people were connected. It helps with retention, all those things. Great. But if I disappeared for a week, my business would not collapse because they're tied to the company. Okay. When I tried to do a community by myself where everything depended on me, I struggled to start a conversation. Like, if someone comes to me, we're good. Like, if you come to me, hey Barbie, I saw your video, and oh my gosh, that's amazing. But for me to say, hey, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say when I'm reaching out to someone. If you see me in your inbox, I'm not gonna, man. Very rarely am I gonna pitch you on something or whatever. I'll be like, hey, how are you? How you doing? How's everything going? Blah blah. You know, but I'm not like that. I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. Like, I am not the initiator like that. However, it's crazy because I can make videos all day long because I know that ultimately the video people will come to me. So anyway, I tried the Facebook thing outside of the team building because you're doing it for a company or an income stream that you're working with. And I've just tried it so many times and I'm like, what do I say today? I have no idea. I don't know what to say. So I can't get the engagement going. I just can't do it. So for me, I struggle with community. I really do. And I've tried it so many times. But I get way better results because the thing is, I think as an introvert doesn't have to do with the fact that because I don't know about you, I do love people, I love people, but I love to connect. I like to connect with people, right? And so in a community, it feels more surface level in a way. Hey, how you doing? How's the weather? What is your favorite food of the day? Post your lunch. I'm like, not me. I rather create a system where someone watches my video and they know that there's an open door to contact me. And if they're contacting me, that is a hot lead. That is a person that is serious, right? So I am with you on that 100%. Do you like the community thing or you're more like kind of like what I'm describing?
I mean, I've had communities over the years. I've had several Facebook groups, so I'm okay with that. Even though I do also consider
Mhm.
myself an introvert, I've become okay starting conversations. It's never been my thing. But you know, one thing, I don't think we've ever met at an in-person event. But the hardest thing for me has always been introducing myself and saying who the hell I am, because I'm like, I think I know who I am, and then when it comes to an event, I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. Like, I like when other people know who I am already. So when they start the
Right.
conversation, so I'm like, that's just
Yes.
easier. So I think that the introvert still like plays a huge part. So
Yeah.
yeah, because you know the big thing of 2026 and 2025 as well, like it kind of started there. Like the two big, I wouldn't say trends, but it's kind of like where we're headed because of AI, because of all the technology, is the two big things
Mhm.
are community and experiences. So not just selling, you know, the regular courses, the regular coaching, which we're going to touch on that subject as well because that's kind of like a hot topic right now, but selling actual
Yeah.
experiences or doing a webinar or an event
Mm.
in person or anything because people crave the human connection. And I know even as introverts, because I know we've also spent what, like it's been a couple years, it's been years ago now that we've spent a couple years at home without going anywhere for everybody knows
Right.
what reason, 2020, 2022.
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
like even I think the deepest introverts have been craving the human connection, whether it's even if you're not starting conversation, even if it's, you know, your own way and people start the conversation, we still want to be connected in one way or another. So yeah, like if your community is on YouTube and that works for you, brilliant.
Right. Exactly. Community doesn't look the same to everybody, you know? The community could be your email list and you have a really good relationship with your email list. Your community could be your YouTube following or your Facebook. I am literally I have like a circle. I put the information out there and then I if you want to connect with me, you can friend me on Facebook or I'm always in my emails. I encourage people to, hey, connect with me, reply to my email, whatever, so that there's always this open door to connect with me, you know? But yeah, that's really interesting about and I'm finding that too. Like there has to be some hybrid. I think we're going into like this hybrid model where you can do digital products like I do because I love the digital products because they give you more leverage. But there has to be I don't know if it's super high touch, but there has to be you can be high tech, but you have to have some personal touch in there as well. You know, like for example, I usually don't do this, but I had a gentleman reach out to me. He wanted to buy, you know, it's a four-figure package or whatever. And he's like, would you get on the phone with me? I'm like, yeah, why not? I'll get on the phone because my husband was right next to me. My husband is the guy that like is your dad. Pick up the phone, you know, like you've got to pick up the phone and don't text. He can't stand when I text the kids, you know. So I picked up the phone and we had a very nice conversation and whatever. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't so bad. And he did purchase or whatever. So I was like, okay, that was definitely worth it. So you have to also be open to adapt a little bit. I'm okay. I think I'm okay with the phone call as long as they call me and they've jumped through a few hoops to know that they're serious. I'm just not going to let anybody call me like that. You know, but I do see that there has to be that connection. So what I've done with this particular person is I'm very active in the email, connecting through email and stuff like that. So yeah, I think the connection is key, especially nowadays. I don't know. There's some things about AI that I like, some things about AI that I don't like, some boundaries that I would cross, and some boundaries that I know for me, I don't think I'm ever going to cross. I still do truly believe in, and everyone has their own thing and everyone has their own way of doing things, and that's why I think it's so important. Again, go back to the inside, don't look on the outside, because what looks on the outside, oh, it looks so awesome, I'm doing this AI thing, and I'm making a ton of money using AI, blah blah blah. You still have to go back inside yourself and say, okay, who am I? What am I willing to do? What kind of business do I want to have? What kind of connection do I want to have with people and all that stuff? I still want to show people that I'm real. This is a video. I am not an AI robot. I am real. You know what I mean? and yes, I do. In my opinion, I really think it's really important to. And I think you said this one time, and I also I think I had a comment on that post, but you're very much about branding and being yourself and being like authentic and stuff like that. And you know, like you have to have your own voice. You have to have your own image at the end of the day, And so that's what makes us stand out, I think. I definitely value the human touch. I value seeing you as an actual person. It makes me want to trust you. It makes you credible. Makes me want to buy from you. So that is my line that I've drawn, and I'm kind of trying to be cryptic because I don't want to insult anybody that is using AI in these weird new ways, whatever, because everyone can do whatever they want. But yeah, I really think I think it's a hybrid. I think we are going kind of like back to the 80s in a way, where there's connection, where we're just, being real, but we're leveraging all this new technology to automate a lot of the processes so that we don't have to be on all the time. So, what do you think about that? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, so oh man, because there are some people that follow me that do a lot of the AI stuff. There's one thing that, and I love AI, and I'm glad that you brought this
Me too.
conversation up because I'm really curious about your boundaries because you mentioned them like, ooh, I want to know those boundaries. Like, what lines are you not absolutely not going to cross?
I'll tell
Because
you what they are.
for
People might not like it, but yeah.
I think I know what they are, but I mean, we're kind of unfiltered, so I think we're gonna have to go in there, and if somebody gets offended, then that's your thing because everybody has a preference, right? So that's what I want to say. Like we can all
Absolutely.
find the common ground. If you're listening to this and
Mhm.
you disagree with some of the things, great. Like that's just not for you. But I mean, we're all here to agree to disagree, and everybody is, in my opinion, entitled to their opinion. And it's okay to disagree and still be cool with each other because I really hate the division that sometimes the opinions make. So for me personally,
Yeah.
I do use AI. I do use ChatGPT. I've used Claude. I've used like I don't use it necessarily on a like to like replace myself or to replace my brain because AI is only as good as the output is only as good as the input that you give it. If you give it a terrible prompt, it's going to give you a terrible result. So you have to be a
Mhm.
leader and a good marketer and a good like business person in the first place in order for it to give you the good stuff. Now, there's the lines that I'm not willing to cross. I have no interest of having an AI avatar of myself. Like I have no interest on me being on video as an AI and then just speaking without no emotion, then my hands acting weird because that's what I notice every single time when you see an AI video and my parents, they always fall for that stuff. They're like, "Oh, look at this actor." I'm like, "Dad, look closer. It's literally AI." And I've seen those videos. They look crazy accurate right now, but if you just take like a deeper look, I've seen this girl, there's multiple accounts actually right now that do this. Um like the emotions on the face just don't match what you're saying, and to me that's just creepy in my opinion. And then another thing that
Mhm.
I personally would not outsource to AI, like you'll never see me have a brand photo shoot from AI. I just feel like personal branding to me is a very special thing. Like I've relied on my personal brand for 10 years and I've worked really damn hard to make it reputable, to make it trustworthy. So for me to put an image of myself, I'll do a fun image, for Christmas. I used AI and I was a little bit scared. I was like, this looks crazy accurate. Like it literally looks like my entire face off of the actual selfie that I gave it. So that's fun. But an actual photo shoot, like you'll never see AI photos of myself. And again, I know even some of my friends who use them. Great. For me, I I don't know, just not for me. Like there's already enough AI in the space. Like my face, in my opinion, is irreplaceable, so I would not go there. That's kind of like my boundary.
We're on the same wavelength, girl. We're on the same way. I feel the same way. And I have friends that use the AI twin. And again, no shade. That is a personal preference. And it goes back to know who you are. What is your personality? What is the kind of life business you want? And if that's what works for you, I know that there are a lot of people out there that they're like, oh, you mean I don't have to get on video? I can just use an AI twin and just do this thing. And you will attract people that are attracted to that. You know what I mean? But me personally, I'm on the same wavelength as you. I do believe that we are uniquely made. We are made in the image of our creator and not in the image of AI. And so even though I do use AI as well, Gemini is amazing. I use Gemini for copywriting and but like you said, you have to be a good prompter. So garbage in, garbage out. You have to be skilled at prompting. And I'm skilled at what I'm doing. So I use AI as an assistant more so as than a replacement for me. It's great at creating gorgeous images that it would take me, I would have to, outsource it and who knows when I'll get it back. And I don't have any control if I want to changing. So for those things, it's really, really great. But when it comes to, like making myself an AI twin, I just, I get it, but for me personally, you lose my trust. I can't, I just can't do it. I don't know if it's an intrinsic thing. Me personally, the way I'm built, I don't try. I would not give $2,000 to someone who's selling me something and you're presenting yourself as an AI. I just can't. Other people can. So that's great. That doesn't just because I don't want to do it and it doesn't work, that I wouldn't see myself doing it, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. It works for somebody. You just have to make sure that you are true to who you are, which is your personal brand. You have to be true to yourself and you have to realize, okay, who do I want to attract? Who do I want to attract into my world? And so for me, I rather just batch my videos and like I see the advantage. You don't want to be on video and stuff like that. I totally see the advantage of that, but I rather just like, okay, then I'm just going to dedicate one day to film all my videos and then the rest I'll just be in a messy bun and whatever. And then, but I'm there, but it really goes down to your core values and who you are as a person and what you think is good and what you think is not good. And I don't think you're a bad person if you use AI. I think I've seen some amazing things, but just the way I'm built, I just can't do it. Another thing, I saw a guy. It was a really interesting video because I don't know if you watch them. I love them. Like when my husband and we have a routine where we have our breakfast or whatever, and then we turn on the YouTube to those really cool ambiance channels that have the jazz and then the fire flickering in the background and it's raining and I was like, oh, I wonder how they make that, right? So I saw a guy who was showing how to make that thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to see how he makes it. So then I saw the video, but the video was the guy it was an AI twin doing it, right? And just like you said, there's something in the hands. It's like, and they're all doing the same gestures and it's all the same thing. It's like, it's not human. But what gets me is that like after 5 minutes, it's like all I hear is, it's like the monotone in the voice. It doesn't pick up the human inflection that makes us human. And so something in me is like, I can't watch anymore. After like 5 minutes, I'm like, I just can't listen anymore because our voices, as you see me going up and down and this and that, and Helena's laughing, and that's what makes us human. And so I want to do business with a human, even though there's might be a human behind it. Yeah, that's my boundary. I could go on forever about it, but that's kind of like where my boundary is. I'll do like if I'm writing an ebook, I'll use AI images for the background or whatever. but I don't even know. I'm not even sure that I would put myself on an AI image background. Or, I don't know. There's certain things I just like to keep simple, and then for the rest, I'll use AI. So that's where I'm at with it. So you got to do you at the end of the day. But yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
tricky
agree.
place to be, man.
It's
Yeah.
gotten a little crazy. I feel like 2025 was one of those years where I don't know about you, but every single person that I talk to, like, or at least a lot of people, they say like it's been an interesting year or like a weird year
Oh
or
yeah.
it's been something. And I feel like it's been such a pivotal year in technology because everybody and their dog started using AI, and then people wonder,
Yeah.
oh, why is the engagement on social media so low? I would literally just today I
Yeah.
saw an account of somebody on Instagram with 100,000 followers. And again, I don't like to judge based on the engagement because it's kind of like the same on YouTube. You don't necessarily judge, oh, like the video got 10 views, but it got me $2,000 sales. So it's like, does the vanity metric really matter? Not really. But it must be
Right.
frustrating for somebody with 100,000 followers when they only get like the reach, it's like 2,000 people and then 50 people like the post. I'd be frustrated because I look at my engagement on social media and it's not as good as it was back in 2016, 2017 when we used to
Yeah.
get like 300 likes per post and like a boatload of leads.
Yep.
But the technology
Hmm.
definitely made a huge difference. So, in my opinion, if you're not leveraging video, and this is why this podcast is also on video, because just on audio, again, some people say, oh, you just gotta have your podcast on audio. I love YouTube. I love having a good watch time as well on my YouTube channel. And I love having like the actual faces. And it's more fun, I find, to be like on this podcast and see each other because I mean, we're here for the first time, right? So I feel like the video
Yeah.
such a big focus. And I've even heard this one prediction for 2026 that Facebook Live is going to make a comeback. Now, in my opinion, you're
Mm.
going to live video. I mean, you could use Instagram, you could use Facebook, but there's a better platform. Hint, hint, it's the YouTube, right? So where the video is going to live on longer. Do you use live video at all, or do you like the pre-recording and just like leave?
That's a really good question. I I get very nervous. I get the jitters so bad before I go live that sometimes I just like I'm just going to record the video. But I have been live a few times and yeah, I get so nervous that I just don't know what to say, and then, but once some people start jumping on, that's it. I get in my flow and I get excited because like I need the feedback. I need to bounce that feedback. So I don't do it as much as I should. But if you're saying that there's a comeback coming to live, I really think, now, let me ask you. So, okay. So to answer your question, I usually do recorded video, I'm not the type of person that, I go live every single day, but I'm not opposed to going live like once a week or whatever, you know what I mean? Because there is something fun about it. And if there's people, when they show up, you can see them and it's engaging and stuff like that. So that's a lot of fun. But do you think that these things are coming back because people are more cynical now? Because they want to know, are you a real person or are you an AI? Like, because it almost feels like we're gonna have two camps. We're gonna have the real people. We're gonna be like on the Matrix. Are you gonna be on the Nebuchadnezzar, like in the ship or whatever? Or are you gonna be like in the real world in the Matrix? Like, where are you gonna be? Because I almost it's like it feels like there's a camp for I'm gonna do AI, I'm gonna do the AI twin, I'm gonna do everything AI, everything. I'm just gonna let AI do everything for me. And then there's I think the people like us that we're like, well, I'm still a real person. I want people to know that I'm real. I crave more real interaction, but I'm gonna leverage AI because of course it makes my life easier. So what do you think?
Yeah, so you probably heard this term. It's been going around all 2025 that there is a trust recession, especially in the coaching industry, in the
Yes.
digital marketing industry, because people just people don't trust anybody. And I mean, like, not to open a can of worms, but the coaching industry is pretty scary because there's a lot of coaches who lie about their income. Like, they drop all these income claims. There are communities when they pay each other on Stripe just to have the screenshots. Like, it's crazy. So
Well,
for
that's
me, I'm very
crazy.
selective with who I'm buying from. It's insane. So,
Mhm.
and not to mention some people who just rely on AI. Like, you can literally see when some people say, like, oh, I can't tell that it's AI for the, like, in the written content. Usually you
Mhm.
can because there are certain words that AI is using. Here's an example. Now, a lot of people are hating on the M dashes, right? It's like, oh, if you use the M
Oh my God,
dash,
I'm like,
you're using AI. And I'm like, well, for actually, it's proper grammar. Like, if you read a book, there's M dashes. Now, for me personally, I've never in my life used M dashes. I've just always used like a regular dash that's on my keyboard. So
right.
if I were all of a sudden to start using M dashes, that would be a little bit suspicious. Like, especially the people who like to be like the grammar police and really look into the content. So for me, I don't use it. Like, if I do use AI to, polish up my content and to tell me like to like literally roast my content. I love Claude for that actually, because ChatGPT, it's like my best friend. He always agrees with everything.
Yeah.
Like Chat Daddy is just that kind of person. But Claude is like, this sucks. You need to change this. This is being too obvious. You're over explaining here. So, if we use AI and literally tell us like, hey, please roast the content, that's great, because that way and please do not copy every single thing word for word, because that's what makes it obvious. And literally
Yes.
there's
I have a
there's
rule,
this
eighty
thing
twenty, 80-20, 80-20.
that rule
80%
works for everything.
let like 80% is like, okay, the AI can do it for you, but the 20, you got to do a 20% human polish, because let's be honest, like I I've done copywriting for people in the past. I've done solo ads for people in the past, right? But it takes a lot to like come up with the words and this and that. Where I can go into AI and say, okay, look, this is my copywriting framework. I want to use this framework and I'm trying to get this result and this and that. And this is what I want to say. I'm still putting that into the AI. This is what I want to say. This is what I'm trying to communicate. Write it in this PAS or, whatever. It's a copywriting framework, by the way. Write it in this framework so that it sounds like a world-class copywriter actually wrote it. You know what I mean? And so I'll go over it and I'm like, okay, I would never use that word. What other word would I use? I would change it out. So yes, you have to do, I do 80-20, but I'm in there prompting very intentionally also, you know? So, but yeah, like one thing about ChatGPT is like overwhelm. I'm so sick of that word. There's some words that it just uses over and over and over again. Or the whole, it's not that you're lazy, it's that this, it's not that you're what, that's a ChatGPT thing too, and I can start picking up on it after a while, um if you haven't, this is a side note to Helena. If you haven't tried it, Gemini is really good. Gemini actually writes very closely to the way that I write. I really like it. Have you ever used Gemini before? Google Gemini?
I've used when it first came out. I didn't like it initially. I know it's really good for research. I've used it for like doing deep research similar to ChatGPT. But I haven't. I actually do have a paid subscription that comes with Google Workspace, so I'm gonna have to use it a bit more now that you've said
Yeah.
it.
Revisit it because it's really good. I like it. But anyhow, but yeah. Um I think that I love that term, and I have heard it, the trust, what is it? Trust recession. Yeah. We got
Recession.
to come back to trust. Do you trust an AI, a person that's I struggle with that. I know there's other people that are okay with it, that they'll like, will you put down 2000? I mean, I'm sure it happens. I am sure it happens. I just like, yeah, I don't know. It's just a really weird world we're in. So, coming for 2026, what is your prediction? What do you think is going to happen?
I think people just want, like I said, more human connection. They want to see real people. I think that's why, I mean, I've always been a proponent of video ever since I actually started liking it, and I've, become good at it. Like, not before, when I was like really struggling with it, but I do
And
believe
hello,
that the human
she's
connection.
stunning. She's stunning. Why would she want to hide herself with an AI? Hello.
That's another thing. I'm like, if you're a beautiful person, which you are, and then every single listener that is listening to this or watching on YouTube, like, why would you want to hide your pretty face?
Yeah. Why? Why? Yeah, not only that, but I really, there's some things that we learned. I think we're talking about this off screen, that there's some just fundamental things that I've learned that really haven't changed, and it is that you attract who you are, and so I want to attract people who like get me and who understand my humor, or that they like my style, or they like the way that I talk, or the first thing is like, oh my gosh, I watch your video and I just love the way that you blah blah blah. that's the connection. That is the what helps people resonate with you. And I think it's important to keep that, you know? Anyway, it's a top value in my core value list. So that's why I kind of harp on it a little bit. But, you know, but yeah, so you were talking about that, like the the coach world is going crazy, and like, what else do you have to say about that? Like, should people be
You know
pivoting
what's
from
you know
coach?
what you, Yeah, you know what's insane to me, which again, we're still in this AI conversation, and again, we love AI. There's a fine line when using it, but it's really crazy to me when apparently it's been a thing for a while. I've seen a thread the other day when somebody said that they sign coaching clients or they have this membership where they review copy, but behind the scenes they actually just use like a form of a GPT or a form of AI. And I'm like,
Oh
what do you
no.
mean? And people pay hundreds
Wow.
of dollars or sometimes thousands of dollars for these coaching packages to, doesn't matter what kind of coach that is. Like, I don't have like specific names, not that I would drop any names here or anything, but you got to be really careful who you buy from, because just because somebody's dropping Stripe screenshots doesn't mean that it's true. You have to have the BS radar on, in my opinion. Like, I've always had it for, like all these years. Like, I like to see kind of like, I like to follow people, see what they do, see how they show up. How do they show up for their community? Do they show up on video? Like, there's a lot more to the person than, their bank accounts, in my opinion. Like, how do they do
Mm,
business?
I'm,
What
I'm
are their core
so with
values?
you. Hmm.
It,
I'm with you, man. The more you talk, the more I'm like, man, Helena's a lot like me. Like I really am. I'm resonating like crazy. I agree with everything that you're saying. I personally do not like. I totally know that it's okay to like share a milestone or
oh,
whatever,
yeah,
but I've been in this industry for such a long time. I don't like the screenshot marketing either. And what I don't like about it, do you want to go there? But I'll
I
go there real
do.
quick.
I
What I
actually do.
don't, you're the controversial girl, huh? I mean, I love your branding too, with the whole mysterious international woman of CEO status. I love it. But anyhow, what I don't like about it is there's a lot of things I don't like about it, actually. One of the first things I don't like about it is that we're going back to the thing before, that there are a million ways to make money. There's just a million ways to make money. And if you're looking to make money and someone flashes a screenshot that I made a couple $1,000s today, what that does, in my humble opinion, because it's happened to me too. I'm not, uh, immune from this. It used to happen to me too, especially as in my earlier years. Is that it? I think it activates like a greed gene. You just lose your mind. You don't even think it's like, I want to make $2,000. I want to make the 10. So you don't even really think about, what are you going to learn? Are you going to learn something that's going to be good for you personally or whatever? You're just looking at the dollar bills, y'all, right? So you're going to be like, okay, and I get it. There is a certain social proof, or there's a validation because, oh, this person is making money, therefore I should listen to them. And I really love this quote that Russell Brunson said, and I really love it. And maybe it's because it comes from more of a coaching, consulting mindset, where he says that you can post screenshots all day. Who cares? You're not making an impact until you can say, these are the results that my clients are getting. These are the results that the people that align with me or that buy from me are getting. This person worked with me and they just generated a bunch of leads, or they just, got their first sale or whatever. So I think it's kind of like, I don't like, and then I have another mentor, and this one's a good one to write down, because I do believe this is so true, that if you market the idea of money, the burden of proof is always on you. That means you always got to be making money. If that is your marketing strategy, you better show me the money. Like Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Because if not, if I sign up with you and I'm not making that money, I'm going to be like, what? I thought I was going to make that kind of money too. And it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't work that way. So, from everything that I've learned, the wisdom that I've collected along the way, my age, I'm 53, and everything that I've seen in my 18 years as a dinosaur in the industry, I rather, I guess, like I rather lead with value and show people how to do things and then attract people that way. It is kind of the longer way, but we can't lose sight of how things actually work, right? And you can disagree with me or agree with me. Jelena, what do you think? I think that there are certain laws that just don't change, like the law of gestation, the law of reaping and sowing. You plant a seed, it's not going to be sprouting tomorrow. It's a process. And you have to love the process, because if not, the only one that's going to really be making the money is the person selling you the screenshot, you know? And I just don't
Yeah,
want, I don't know, I just want to do that. Yeah.
and it's also like going back to what you were talking about earlier is you attract who you are. So for me personally, I've never led with the screenshots and with the money. I've shared milestones, and there was actually several people
Those
over the
are
years
good.
who watched me kind of. Yeah, like, so they from the beginning, the people who followed me from the beginning, they told me, they're like, I actually like the fact that you've never led with the screenshots, because we see the lifestyle that speaks for itself. Like, we see you traveling, we see you going to events, like speaking at events,
Yeah.
being on podcasts. That's a more, in my opinion, more valuable representation of quote unquote success than the dollar signs. And not to mention that every single
Mhm.
time you lead with the screenshots, that's exactly who you're going to attract. You're going to attract the people who are just money hungry, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we all want to make money.
Right.
It's great, especially when you can do so much good in the world when you make more money. But something that I brought up to my coach earlier this week was, I'm like, I want to attract more people who are more depth oriented. Like, I want to create more depth with my content, with the conversations that I have online, with the people that I connect, with my podcast, with, the clients that I attract. And I asked her, I was like, how do you do that? And she's like, you always start with you. You create more depth like yourself, and then that more of that depth
Right.
comes to you. So it's the same thing.
It is. It really is. It's the don't look out there so much. Of course, for guidance and things like that, it's important. Like right now, you asked your sales coach because you have this question, but you're not sure. So at some point, we need like that. Oh, it's almost like a validation of like, yeah, that's what you do. You look inside. You have to look inside yourself, because um I do, and I've heard this millions of times. I like to put it as that you were born with a little suitcase inside your chest, and that little suitcase has everything you need so that you can thrive in this world. So you just got to look inside the little suitcase that's already built into you, And then of course you go out and look for guidance. But there was because I used to fall for the whole, oh, they're a six-figure earner, blah blah blah, whatever. Um and I achieved that with the company that I was with too, and that's great. But what I realize is that when you only look at the number, that's the problem. And then you get behind that person's coaching or the way they teach, and they're like, "Oh, you got to get on the phone, or you got to do this, you got to do that, or they're going to teach you a strategy that you're not in alignment with, or they're going to show you something that you're like, and then you see them and they're like hustling all the time and they're always on whatever, and it's like, no, I say, look at the life. Start with the end in mind. What do you want your life to look like? And then kind of look at the person that has that same kind of life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of a boring person in the sense of my life is kind of just the highlight of my day is just like I have a schedule where I work in the morning at noon. I shut everything down. I'm upstairs, right? So I shut my computer down. I go downstairs. I have a breakfast with my husband, like around 1 o'clock. And then we put on our little jazz thing, like I was telling you before. And the rest of the afternoon is just kind of like chilling out, or the kids will come in and they'll talk to us or whatever. And that's just, probably a boring life to a lot of people, but it's heaven to me. I love it. I get to be creative. I get to work a little bit, and then I spend time with my family, and, I haven't missed anything, and so, but there's a lot of people that probably want that too, you know? So it's really about not just the money, it is who's living the kind of life you want to live. You know what I mean? I think is more so that's the thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of millionaires, quote unquote, on paper, that's and then there's like different things about like the profit and the loss and like what's the actual profit, because there's a lot of business owners who make 100,000 but then they only take home 10,000. So I'm like, is that really worth it, or do you need to restructure your business? Anyway, that's a whole another conversation, but the lifestyle is the big thing. And I know you
Mhm.
build your business around your lifestyle, because again, there's a lot of people who again are successful on paper but kind of dead on the inside, and that's not something to be proud of at all. Like, would you want to work with that kind of person as your coach? Probably not.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't, and it took time for me to realize that's why you just have to really check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Like you have to really look inside and say, who am I? What is my personality? What are my core values? What are my boundaries? What is that whatever, and then align yourself with people that think the same way. And it starts with you being the one that's sharing more of those things. Like for the longest time, okay, like when I was with this other company that I was with before for like 7 years, I consider myself, I was like the tutorial girl. I was like tutorials, 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 tutorials. And I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't mind showing people how to do certain things, but now those tutorials, the trainings are in my program. If you want to learn the tech, if you want to learn how to build the things, you can buy my program. Like now when I'm on YouTube, I just did a video just recently, like I'm pivoting. And my pivot is I want to talk about business and strategies. Like, you know what? And there's nothing wrong with this. It's just to give you a sense of how my brain was working. I was like, okay, does my Avatar, and like I said, no shade, okay, because I used to watch it too, okay, so no shade, but is my perfect person, is my the person that I'm trying to track, do they watch Shark Tank, or do they watch The Bachelor? Like, what do they watch? You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. I my but Shark Tank to me is my guilty pleasure, but it's a business show. I love the stuff. I love the behind the scenes, the story, the deal, the all that. It's like, oh, I love it. So it's like, well then we have to create more content around those things. Not Shark Tank, but like what I'm saying is we have to create content around the things that matter to us. You know what I mean? So that we attract the people that are on the same wavelength. So like now I love to talk about strategy or things that I've tried and didn't work. So that people that are like me, hey, don't try that, because that, I mean, you can try it, but you might not like it because I've done it. So that's kind of like where I am right now, where I'm not just the tutorial girl. Because what got you here won't get you there, right? You got to
Exactly,
change.
exactly. Can you got to make a change. And if you're in business for a long time, you're going to have to make pivots. And I know you've made several over the years. I mean, over the course of 18 years, that's a long journey, right? Because a lot of people think that, oh, my business is just going to be like, like this on an uphill battle, but it's like a freaking wavelength of a freaking audiogram of a
Yeah.
podcast, right? So, I know we're here over an hour already, so I hope you're good on time, but I'm loving the
Oh, I'm
conversation.
good.
So,
Yeah, I'm good.
can you man can you talk a little bit more about the pivots? And for somebody who's in business and they're like, something doesn't feel right, how did you make pivots in your business?
Yeah, I've had quite a few pivots. A lot of my pivots came from the trial and error. If like I said, my husband's been very supportive of me, but it got to a point where you need to know when something when something is working, when something is not working, is it because you're not bringing the full, your full energy and your whole heart into your business, or does it not working because it just doesn't align with your personality? For example, if you and I would have sat there and hammered away making cold calls we probably would have absolutely, I don't see that I would have ever knocked it out of the park, because I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. I hate the phone. What am I doing? It doesn't align with who I am and what I want to do. There has to be a better way, right? And there is usually a better way, right? So that is when you have to realize what I'm doing. I'm a square peg. You have to be okay with being a square peg, and that you do not fit into a round hole. You have to be okay with that. You have to recognize who you are. So it all goes back to you. So I've had to make different pivots, and a lot of the pivots that I've had to make is because it's, you think it's your business, but when you're an affiliate, it's not your business. It's really not. You're not. even though they sell it to you that way, that could be a whole different podcast, girl, but it's not your business. You are a glorified salesperson. That's really what we are. It's not our business because if we do not control the cash register, someone can pull the rug from underneath us. And I learned that the hard way, where I romanticized a business for 7 years, and I was one of the top people inside of the company, and then they sold it, and then the new people changed everything, and then they, with one cold corporate email, yeah, we are what's the word, not canceling, terminating, we're terminating the affiliate program. And then boom, from one day to the next, it was kaput, right? Because I put my, now let me just say something. It worked while it worked. It was amazing. It was life changing, and I am so thankful and so I'm grateful for everything that I learned. And I do believe that nothing is wasted, right? But I had no choice. I had to pivot, right? So I think that it comes to a fork in the road where something like that happens to you. If you're an affiliate, because that's mostly what I did. Because I did different pivots. I did eBay. You have to realize what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you are, whatever. And I don't know if you're okay with this. I'm gonna, I'm gonna quote a quick little Bible scripture in 1 Peter 4:10. It says, "Use your strengths, your gifts, your talents to serve others." That's the key. That's the formula. Use your strengths, your gifts, your talents to serve others. How do you make money? Through serving others. That's through the value that you give, right? So if you're doing something like I was doing eBay, I hated retail. I hated the small percentage, the constant hamster wheel of listing, 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 listing. I'm like, it's not for me. But it might be for somebody else that loves the thrill, but it's just not for me. So it's almost like you have to know who you are, and then you have to know when to quit. But I tell my sons, but nothing's wasted, because you can learn a little golden nugget, even if it's what you don't like about something or what you do like about something. You will always learn something from the experience. So always be open to learn from the experience, right? So then I think it's really important. I would pivot when you have to have your the big the big goal, the why goal, the why. The that's like the main thing, right? So even though I've done different things, my core why has always stayed the same. I want to be present. I want to be there for my husband. I want to be there for my kids. And now my mom is aging. I lost my dad. So I have my mom. She's a widow, and I'm the only sibling in this state that can be there for her if she needs me, right? So that has been in the background, the why. So figure that out first. What is the big ultimate? What do you want your life to look like every single day? Why are you doing it? Because you want to be there for your family. You want to do this. You want to get married one day. You want to be able to be debt free. You want to send your kids to college, whatever it is. You got to figure out what that thing is, because that's the thing that wakes you up in the morning to do the thing you got to do. Right? That's the thing. So I would try different things, and then I would realize this business model, it does not, it conflicts with my life, right? I have to do this, I have to do that. It's not working. So that's how I knew when I had to pivot, when it was creating friction with the kind of life that I was trying to live, right? And so now I found like the perfect business model, which is kind of like, I like the digital products because there is no inventory. You can sell it whenever you want. See, everything taught me something. What I loved about eBay was I could list something and then I could sell it at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was sleeping, but I had to replenish it because it was physical, actual merchandise. Whereas with a digital product, you list it once and you can sell it over and over and over and over again. So I learned something from the eBay experience. You see what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question, but how I knew when to pivot, when it wasn't working for my life, when it wasn't flowing naturally, when I was struggling too hard, or I was trying to force something to work and it wasn't working, don't do it. It should almost like feel like an extension of who you are. It should feel natural. It should, like, I don't know, it's almost like when it's like an alignment. When you are aligned with who you are, what you're selling, and you believe in what you're doing, then the right people show up. you know? And
Exactly.
I think that's what, yeah, I think that's
Yeah, and
the
you
hidden
mentioned
secret.
digital products. I know you mentioned digital products, which is what you're selling right
Yeah.
now as your main business model. And I know there's been this hot topic of everybody talking about the big leader who quit selling the digital programs and like the online courses, and that some people are saying, "Oh, this doesn't work anymore." What's your opinion on that?
Okay. So from what I know of the situation, okay, it does come back to AI. And I think that we have to adapt. I mean, where do you go to learn something? I, I gotta get a course. I gotta go to, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that still work. It's maybe the way you do it has to be like retrofitted. You know what I mean? So I don't like when people say it doesn't work. It may not work for you. It goes back to do the thing that works for you. Like, for example, lead magnets, right? Right now, all the rage is people are like, no, 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 a regular lead magnet doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. Don't do a regular lead magnet. Well, by lead magnet, I mean like a checklist or a little ebook or something like that. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. The only thing that works now is giving away a GPT. Like, there are people that, and that's a really cool. That is a really cool strategy to give away a free GPT as a lead magnet to collect a lead. Enter your name and email, and I'll give you a free prompt. Okay, but you get the free prompt, you use the prompt, and you kind of forget, sort of. You know what I mean? Like, you have to still have certain things in place that connect the people to your brand, get them to know, like, and trust you. You got to sell them something of value. So I just think that the way we do things has to be tweaked. But I think a lot of the things still work. It's like saying, well, the future is only going to be the AI twin. I'm sorry, but I'm not going that route. So I'm always going to go to the person who is presenting themselves as a human. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you as well because I mean, I bought courses over the years. Like I still buy courses if there's a specific thing that I want to learn, I'm going to go and buy it. Like, but it's what matters is who you buy from. I'm not going to buy it just from
Mhm.
anybody. You know, is there something that I can ask ChatGPT like, "Hey, I would like to learn more about neuroscience." Sure, it's going to give it to me, but when I buy, because there's a couple of people that I bought from over the last, I would say 1 to 2 years, and there's certain people I buy everything from them. I don't care what it is, $29 masterclass, a mastermind, like you buy proximity, you buy the way the person thinks, you
Yes.
buy into the expertise. So my
Yes.
priority as a personal brand and as a coach over the years has been is to build my brand to be known for a certain expertise. So people still buy courses from me because of the way that I think. So it's not because of the way
Yes.
ChatGPT thinks. And I still have lead magnets. I still have masterclasses. I've done challenges. You know, things still work. You just have to find what works for you, and you still have to build a brand. In my opinion, you still have to build the audience or the your community that's going to trust you because of the way you think. Because like, I'm sorry, but our brains are sexy, so if we're not selling our brains and it's like we're just relying on the chat gpt,
Yeah.
like eventually it's just going to be a bunch of AI talking to them to each other on social media, which is why the engagement has been so low, because everybody and their dog is talking about the exact same thing. Like, oh, here's 100
Yep.
trial reel ideas, here's the 10 different hooks that you can use, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I tried your GPT, I tried it for a week, and that's about it. Like, there's no connection. Like, and think about it, when
Yep.
you watch somebody else, like, speaking of lead magnets, if you get somebody else's GPT, you're just talking to a robot. You are pretty much disconnected from the person who you downloaded that GPT from. But when you watch somebody else's 30-minute masterclass, or you watch a video just like this on YouTube, you are a lot more connected to that person rather than their GPT. So who are you going to buy from eventually? The person who you downloaded the GPT from, or the person who you watched the masterclass from?
I 100% agree. And and here, but here it is again. I think it boils down to I like to sell the way I like to buy. And if I like to read a lead magnet, I'm going to download one. So that means that there has to be other people out there like me. You know what I mean? And there has to be people out there like you. Well, look, we sitting with you at the time that we've been together. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so much more like me than I even. I even thought. Like I knew there were certain things that like I loved your posts and I love how you real you are with your posts and you're really like about the branding, about being personal, about being authentic with your voice. And I'm like, yes, yes, Helena, yes, I'm with you. Like, but like but I think that if you present yourself the way that in the way that you want to attract those people that align with who you are, then I think there's going to be room for it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's going to get to a point like you're not going to carry around a beeper. You know what a beeper is?
Yeah,
It's
my
just
parents had
going to
it.
become. I get that, right? But there are certain things that they still stand the test of time. It's just maybe the technology around, like we were talking about the pages in the beginning. I just put 5 HTML pages. Now it's a digital platform. It's just evolving around the technology and the way you present the information. But I think at the end of the day, people buy from people, or AIs buy from AIs.
Pretty much. Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
how I
mean?
feel like you said, it's gonna be like a football match. It's gonna be AI versus humans.
Yeah, it really feels like that's what it's boiling down to. And I'm kind of sad, because I just yeah, I'm like I was following you until you did that. That's it. That's my boundary. But you may be like, I was waiting for you to do that. You see what I mean? That's where you have to
Yeah,
honor who you are, you know?
exactly.
It's crazy. But yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna
this has
ask
been
you
so much fun.
one final question for everybody who is getting started. So they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. So if you were to start all over again today, what would you do? And what would be your recommendation to the listeners?
And that is a really good question. If I was to start today, as I was in 2007, knowing what I know now, this is just me, okay? I would obviously need something to sell. I would need a marketing strategy and I would need people to sell it to, right? So I would do one of two things, okay? If you already have a skill, if you already know something that you're good at, maybe in the offline world, you already know how to do something, I would sell that. I would sell your skill, I would sell your expertise, like coaching someone or whatever, okay? And then figure out how to automate it so that you don't have to be on all the time, right? But that's like if I'm just getting on and I need to make money and that's where I need to start, that's probably where I would start. But for the long play, I learned this the hard way. So I was an affiliate for a really, really long time. And in the affiliate world, there's a there it's really attractive because it is the make money without having to be on your computer, which was my dream. But you don't control the product, you don't control the process, you don't control the company, you don't control the paycheck, nothing. You're just a glorified salesperson making a percentage. And if anything changes with the company, you're gone, right? And so what happens is, like, if you are promoting that company, if something ever happens to them, you've got to start from ground zero again. Not everyone is very savvy to make multiple streams of income coming out of the womb. You don't know what you're doing, so you're trying to figure things out. So if you're new, this is what I recommend. This is what I'm doing now. And some people find this controversial. Some people don't like it, but it's been around since the beginning of time, which is get products that have already been created, like like white label, right? Like a white label product. Like right now, if your supermarket, they want to sell, beans, they're gonna go and they're not gonna open up a bean manufacturer, manufacturing plant that makes beans. They're going to find a manufacturer that already makes the beans, and they're gonna say, I want to put my label, my brand on your beans. Is that okay? And they're gonna be like, yes, we'll strike up a deal. Here's the license. And now you put your label on that can, right? And then you put it on, you say, it's mine. So that happens in the business world. Licensing is like a thing. And so there's a way to purchase digital products that already exist. So you don't have to start from scratch. You buy the license one time and then you can sell those products. I still think the 80-20 rule, I still think that you can't just I mean, not me. I mean, there's at least me. I like the hybrid. I'm like the high touch with the high tech, right? And the high leverage, right? So I do create some of my own things because I do like to train people to do things in the way that I do it. But when it comes to my inventory, I rather just do the done for you digital products. You earn 100%. You own the license, so nobody can take it away from you unless they cancel a license, but that's very rare. And so you already have products that you can sell for 100% that are yours, and then you just put them under your brand name, and that's it. I just think it's just if I would have known that existed when I first got started, I may have had a way less amount of pivots because, it's selling education, which I already told you I'm really, really big on. I think it's important to get good education to teach you how to create the skill that'll pay you for life. And so that's what I would do. I would find something if you are interested in health and wellness. Yes, eventually create your own course, create your own program, create your own thing. But if right now there is a program that aligns with what you already do, you can purchase a license for it, stick your branding on it, and then obviously learn the training inside it, sell something you believe in that you actually have gone through and you believe in, and then, slap your branding label on it and sell that out the get go because you have the license, no one can take it away from you. That was the biggest lesson that I learned was you have to get behind the cash register. You got to get behind the cash
100%.
register. You have to own the
100%.
cash register, right? Because if not, your business is volatile, you know? And that's what I learned from being an affiliate. The affiliate stuff is this is how I'll give them credit. Dagan taught us this. So your business is a river. Your brand is a river. Okay, so you've got the main thing that you're selling, which is yourself, your training, your coaching, whatever. And then you have all these streams that flow into the river. But if one of those streams goes away, doesn't matter. You've got all these other streams and you still have the river. You still have your expertise, your experience. You can sell that. But everything else is just a stream and it can go away at any time. And that's what I learned from my experience. You have to you have to have your river and get around good people that you align with, and our iron sharpens iron. And yeah, that's what I would start. Get around good people, sell a product that you believe in. If you can make 100% from that product, that is the best way to go, and always be improving yourself so you can develop a skill that you can actually charge for.
I love that. That's really, really solid advice. I loved the interview, Barbie. We had such an amazing conversation. I feel like we could have gone for hours.
Part two. I know. I
Like,
know.
we
You're
may have to do
awesome.
part two at some point. So what's the place where you hang out where people can, send you a message, have a conversation with you, not call you?
Yeah, don't call me. No, I'm kidding. But you can go to my YouTube channel at Barbie Figueroa, Barbie, like the doll, but I don't look like her. But anyway, it's Barbie Figueroa, Figueroa, Figueroa. And then my website is not my name. I know because I didn't want to put my name. It's Passive Biz in a Box. Passive Biz in a Box. Because my whole thing is to help people build a passive business. And I have everything in a box to help you do that. So yeah,
Amazing.
that's it.
Yeah. We'll have all the links down below into the show notes and in the YouTube description. So, Barbie, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been
Thank you.
absolutely incredible.
Yes, I had so much fun. We got to do it again on another subject. So yeah, so much
Absolutely.
fun. Thank you, Helen. I really appreciate you. She is amazing. Follow her or do whatever you got to do. But yeah, she's amazing.
Thank you. It's been amazing.